Hey guys, got out of, stayed the night in Hiawasi. So I went like 3.8 miles in to Hiawasi, and then I'm looking to stayed overnight at the Budget Inn, and then I'm looking to do, I think it's 12.2 to Muskrat Shelter. Later tonight it's supposed to rain, sort of ushering in a cold front, which I'm a little bit worried about. My sleep system seems to do very well down to about 35. Lower than that, I am not, hypothermic, obviously, but I'm cool enough that I know it. So going down to around 20, what it's supposed to do, I'm a little bit unnerved by it. We'll see how it goes, but I think I had mentioned I probably made a mistake by sending home my expeditionary long undies and keeping my Nike running pants. And the Nikes are great for, like I said, down to the temperatures we were talking about, but with the Smokies coming up and this, anyway, maybe a little light. So, chatting about Hiawasi real quick. I wasn't going to stay at the Budget Inn, I was going to stay at the Mole Inn. I think that was a recommendation by somebody because that was annotated on my maps. So, but I found the Budget Inn to be, sorry about that. I found the Budget Inn to be actually a good spot. It's $40 a night, so it's not like you're staying at the Peninsula or Four Seasons. But the folks there are great. It was clean. Yeah, you're likely not to take a bath in the bathtub, but certainly the shower was clean, was hot. Towels were clean, bed was clean. So it was a good, basic budget spot, actually. And the location is really good. A new restaurant there, I think, is the best in town. It's called Barney's, and it's literally right in front of the Budget Inn. Also, next to Barney's, you have Rite Aid. You have a post, it's not the post office, but it's like a post box where you can send, I don't know, it's exactly what it was. Of course, I got there on a Sunday, so it was closed, but it's some service to the post office where you can send boxes in and out. So that was right next to that. The Outfitter is right next to, in the same shopping center as the post office store. Then right down the street you have Ingles, which is the grocery store, and it's really well stocked. Oh yeah, what did I mention? Rite Aid? Rite Aid is right next to Barney's. And so you have literally everything right there. Real convenient. Only thing that's on the other end of town, which is still, easy walking distance, is the Mexican restaurant. That Daniel's Steakhouse, all you can eat steaks. I don't know. Word around the campfire when I was there was that the people were unfriendly. Food was not great. It's basically, a lot of garbage for a good price. So take it for what it is. I can honestly tell you, Barney's, which has only been there 6 months, is really outstanding. Burgers, brats, a good cross mix of things. And then like banana bread pudding. Ooh, Nelly. Yeah, really good. The gals in there are sweet as can be, man. Really nice. So, Hiawasi. The shuttle, if you look at the budget in shuttle, which also takes other people, doesn't just take you, you don't have to stay there to use the shuttle, goes at 9 and 11. Those are the regular scheduled, and then you can call them in the afternoon. So I got a ride yesterday in, I think you guys will remember when I had mentioned Thomas, the young guy, now Sherpa, his dad, Bob, and his dad's sort of hiking partner, Rick. Bob's wife is sort of tracking along with them. And so when I came out at Dix Creek Gap, I put up my little, hiker to town sign and started to get my act together. And I took off my rain kilt, and she saw this kilt and was like, "Scars, hey, I'll give you a ride to town." Sweet, man. This community is just off the hook. Really, really good. Really friendly, caring, supportive. So I had a great conversation. Went to the Budget Inn. And this morning I took the 9 o'clock shuttle out, the earliest. And got me on the trail at 10 minutes to 10. Because it goes to both Unicoi Gap and to Dix Creek Gap. I'd say about 85% of the people are actually coming out at Unicoi. But I could have sworn somebody, maybe, don't remember if it was Early Rise or somebody said, you're better off coming out at Dix Creek. I think that's true. Personally, I'm having, challenges transitioning to the camping lifestyle. The hiking continues to be great. The camping, a little bit less so. And I don't think going to town more than every third or fourth night would be good for my mental state and my acclimation to the trail. So coming out at Unicoi Gap would pull me early. I'd have been out in 2 days. I hit Unicoi Gap in 2 days. It only took me 3 because I did a 9, but then I did a 12, 11, and a 12. No, that isn't right. I did a 9, a 12, and a 14, or 15, 14 or 15, somewhere in there. So I was tracking along pretty good, not too bad, doing 12-2, probably 12-2 today. There is a standing Indian Gap shelter, which would put me at 20 today. Still on my radar since I got off a little bit late, and this has been very hilly. I still haven't made it to North Carolina, I guess. I don't know, unless I blew past it. The 20 is still a possibility. The issue is this, guys. So you're always contending with something, right? Dude, that's obviously outside of your control. With me, right now, there are two things. One is that tonight, later on, we're supposed to have a cold front come through that I mentioned, and rain. And I have to look and see what mountains I have to go over tomorrow in the cold rain, with the temperatures plummeting that they're talking about, well below zero. I mean, well below freezing. That's one issue. The second issue is when they dropped me off at the Gap down here, at Unicoi Gap, there were like 6 people waiting to get on the shuttle. That's the early one. The later one is more crowded. And when they hit Dix Creek Gap, there must have been closer to 20. So many folks, they couldn't get in the van, and so those guys were gonna have to wait till the 11 o'clock when the guy came back. And I dare say more will pile up, and they will have to do a third shuttle run into town. So looking at that, I've got a huge bubble right behind me, one day behind me. And people were talking already at the Budget Inn who came in later and said the shelters and campsites are getting pretty crowded. So I haven't really experienced that. I mean, I've had some number of people. We had like 23 at one time. But that was early on before Neo Gap. We had some attrition there. Obviously the bubble will have attrition there. So you're always dealing with something. And those are the things I'm sort of thinking about that are motivating me for my continued progress. Well, I mean, for the decisions about whether I will stop at 12 or go to 20. Not a whole lot of a view, but from Buzzard Knob, but since it'll all be green for many of you, thought I'd give you a look-see. The hill was less painful than expected, so that's good. I've been shooting for 2.5 miles an hour as an average because I don't know about other people, but I tend to labor up the hills with that one lung. I just sort of trudge along, usually 2 poles going up the hill. But going on flat ground and downhill, I think I'm, at 3 plus, which gives me a 2.5 average, even over the terrain that's pretty rugged. So I think that's working out pretty well. I'm so close to it that I can pretty much rely on it as far as my timing, how long it's going to take me to get from point A to point B. So that's a consistency that I'm actually pretty happy with. It's these little things that you sort of think about and develop as you go along for so many miles. So, we have some good milestones here today. Going into North Carolina will be obviously a huge one, being just the second state. And I'll share those with you. But otherwise, I can definitely feel the storm coming in, wind picking up, temperature dropping. Still only, time is it here? 1:10. So it's still early. They said that it was supposed to come in late this evening. But if you remember my hike into Whitney Gap shelter, the rain was supposed to stop at 2 and didn't stop all day. So I don't know about these weathermen. I'm hoping I certainly get to Muskrat before it rains. And Standing Indian looms. But I think I'll go to Muskrat. It's not too far off trail. See who's there. If there's folks I know I can catch up with, probably stay. If not, may bid them adieu after introductions and then move on. I don't see any comments from Steve Walker, Big Bird, or Early Riser, or others who I annotated my maps to their comments. I didn't see anything in there that talked about, you know, a good campsite or something like particularly hard or particularly easy or whatever. Something that would have caused me to annotate my map. It's pretty flat through. It's not flat. My map annotations are flat through there. So, okay. I don't want to jabber at you like an idiot for too much of the time. I will throw in some unique moments and wrap it up. North Carolina doesn't want visitors to their state, or whether they have some beef against hikers, but that climb from the border up to this first peak, in all honesty, borders on criminal negligence. I mean, there was a guy who died on Springer Mountain already this year. I could see seriously somebody getting stranded, not being able to get up that hill, but yet so far from any other access out point. I'm surprised that there aren't more incidents. I mean, that is a hill. They made no effort to put a switchback in that entire climb. It's just straight up. There's like these 3 or 4 foot step offs to take a new angle of approach. But those are not switchbacks. Those are simply trying to keep the hill from eroding. Wow. That was the hardest climb. I don't know if it's the hardest climb of this whole trip, but it certainly ranks there. And now, for no reason at all, we're plummeting, not even down the opposite side of the hill. We came up one side of the hill like this. I'm sorry, I think I drew an arc. There's no arc. We came up one side of the hill and then just sort of looped back down the same side of the hill. I can probably see the people that were behind me. Yeah, I must admit, this one perplexes me. We didn't actually go over the peak of the hill. We just went up it, got just below the peak, and then started a V back down. I guess that's truly the first pointless up and down that I've experienced. Anyway, got my spring back in my step. As I had said, I think days and days ago, I'm somewhat alarmed by how hard my one lung works going up hills, but I'm really happy with how fast I recover. Okay guys, so I'm going to continue on here, just how to pound out some miles, and you know, if something exceptional comes up, I'll bring it back up, but otherwise I'm really going to focus on getting the miles done, getting into camp, and I'll show you some shots from there. All right, Coolio out. Just approaching Muskrat Shelter.